We expect by the end of this year that globally, there would have been around 100 million AI PCs sold globally. So this is a huge number. And this speaks to the acceleration of the adoption of the AI PC. We expect by 2028 that 80% of all of the AI PCs, all of the PCs sold globally will be AI PC.
80%.
So 80% by 2028. For the second generation, which is like right now, we have more than 200 software vendor applications enabled with over 400
impressive
features. So that doubled as well.
Yeah.
It's not about AI is going to replace your job or not. It's about, are you going to use AI to grow your productivity in the job and to become more efficient, more productive, and move much faster. I believe that AI is as transformative to the business as the internet was in the beginning of 2000s. It was a tool that if you don't use, you're most likely to be out of business very soon.
Good afternoon, Taha. Nice having you here in Minatech podcast. It's a very special edition of Minatech podcast. We are going to talk about AI PCs. And it's a very special technology, let's say. It was kickstarted by Intel itself. So can you introduce yourself first?
Good afternoon. First off, thank you for hosting me on this podcast with Minatech. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Taha Khalifa. I'm the general manager for Intel in the Middle East and Africa. I've been with Intel for 30 years. Started in the US for 12 years, mostly in engineering and engineering management, strategic planning. Then moved to the region where I've assumed a few roles in business development, project planning, business, and also the channel. And now I'm managing Intel operations in the Middle East and Africa.
That's a very unique career, like moving from engineering to managing the business itself. That's a bit unusual, but I think it's the Intel way. Like you focus on engineering in itself.
Yeah, I think it's just like one of the interesting things, and this is why I stayed 30 years at Intel, is that you have the opportunity to change careers multiple times during your stay with the company. I had, I believe, over 20 jobs within the company during these 30 years. So it's an opportunity to work in different geos, different cultures, different business units. So it gives you a really good overview of the business.
Yeah, of course. And like your background gives you, I think it's a different overview from other managers, let's say. You have like, the technology itself, not only the product, what's underlying.
Exactly. So that gives me some good understanding of what we are selling and what I'm asking my team to deliver to.
Yeah, exactly. Delving into that knowledge, I want to ask you about the AI PC itself. Like for some people, it's just 4 letters, AI PC. But for you, for Intel itself, what defines an AI PC? What makes it different from a normal PC, let's say?
So I think it's a very interesting question because this is a new kind of concept that Intel actually built and introduced to the industry around a couple of years ago. So number one, and this is the most important part, is that an AI PC is a PC with additional hardware component and software on top of it. So a good AI PC needs to be first a good PC. So what we define as an AI PC, it's a PC with the normal CPU and GPU. And we add to that a new processing unit, which is called the Neural Processing Unit, or NPU. And the combination of the three enable AI workloads in a way that I would say increases the opportunity to run these AI workloads regarding productivity, collaboration, creativity, security, all of these new applications that can run on this specific PC. So I think that's the definition that's we as Intel have for the AI PC.
So basically it comes out like mainly it's the NPU.
NPU and of course the software that is enabled by the NPU and the ability of the operating system to schedule the application between the NPU, the GPU, and the CPU. Each of these ones has its own characteristics, and I think it's going to be up to the scheduler to decide where to distribute the tasks to take advantage of that. So the GPU is ideal for parallel operations, which includes things like media applications and gamings. The CPU, it's more for the fast response and running like normal mathematical type of applications. And while the NPU is more for workloads and to also have these low power sustained type of applications. So you have the ability to run these AI workloads without taking away the battery life in your system.
Also, it has like additional battery life.
It has the potential to increase the battery life of the device because you can schedule some applications to run on the NPU instead of running on the CPU, and the NPU requires less TDP or total power envelope than the other CPU or the GPU.
So basically, can you give us some examples about the applications using the NPU?
There are many applications that can use the NPU. If you look at some of the what we call sustained type of applications, for example, when you do collaboration, things like the blur that happens, the noise suppression, some of these can be run in the background. And when they run on the NPU, it can be more efficient in that it is running on a low power type of processing unit or element of the computing versus running on the main CPU or the GPU. At the same time, it releases the computing power of the NPU and the GPU to do something different than that. So many applications can run on the NPU. Many AI workloads can run on the NPU, enabling you to utilize the GPU and the CPU more efficiently.
That's amazing. So talking about like the NPU itself and the AI PC in general, basically it like gives you AI under your hands. You don't need servers. You don't need like cloud services as usual. Like before 2-3 years ago when ChatGPT first came out, everyone thought like AI it's on the cloud. So you think now, no, it's even on your PC. You don't need like internet connection. It can work everywhere.
This is a great question, and it aligns with Intel's strategy. So at Intel, we believe AI is everywhere. It's from the cloud and the data center to the edge to the PC. So all of these will have some elements of AI, and our job as a silicon provider is to build the building or produce or manufacture the building blocks that enable you to run your AI workloads efficiently on all of these devices. So that's why we believe that you will need these different components, these different architectures to support these types of your workload. So when it comes specifically here to the PC, we believe that this unique combination of the NPU GPU will enable you to run and optimize these types of applications and AI workloads.
That sounds amazing. So talking about like offline usage, let's say, of AI, many companies have like a great care. They don't want a cloud-based AI because, there are security concerns, there's privacy concerns. Is that an answer to that?
So here is one of the key things. I think you can run a lot of these applications on the cloud. Now, when you run these large language models, etc., on the cloud, there are elements of security and privacy. There's also response time. All of these things happen when you run these language models on the cloud. When you run it locally on your system, you have many advantages. And some of these advantages, of course, is some cost element to it, performance element to it, and more importantly, the privacy and security elements of this. So you can run safely these models on your device using your own private data, where you can get more relevant data, more relevant responses to your questions and to your use of the model versus when you run it to the cloud, when you cannot share some of this private data. So the advantages of running these models on your PC is that it gives you the fast response time, it gives you this privacy and security types of element, and also add relevance to the answers and to the solutions that you get from running the models locally. So these are kind of the advantages, and these are the concerns now as you as an enterprise or as a government, when you start running these models, you will have to make sure that you are watching all of these concerns and addressing these concerns. And we see the ability of the PC to run these models on the device can alleviate some of these concerns. But there are many layers, many actions that need to happen to, of course, secure the privacy of the data.
Yeah, amazing. But like shifting away, you brought up a very good point, let's say. You spoke about the response time. Especially, I remember like a few months ago, I saw like multiple applications running on Intel AI PC, basically. It was something regarding automatic translation, automatic subtitling, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff it's very important to have it like almost instantly.
Yep.
That's like a very good point. Like you're bringing when it's offline, when it's on your PC itself, it can work like within like fractions of a second. It's different from when you have like even stable like internet connections. You need time to remove the data, then it's processed, and then it comes back. So that's a great point you brought.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what we're referring to, AI everywhere. There are applications that you will need to run on your device. There are still a lot of large language models that you will need to run on the cloud because of the size of the data. And what we've seen is that there is an explosion of the language models, whether the large ones that will reside in the cloud and in the big data center, and the small language models that has the ability to run on your device and on the PC. And this to cater for these requirements, whether it's response time, whether it's concerns on privacy elements and security elements. So we see these two types of models still growing and still creating opportunities for innovation and use by both the consumer and the enterprise.
Amazing. So AI PCs now are in their second or third generation, I guess. It's been for a while, let's say. The hardware is kind of matured now. What do you think of the software?
Okay, so when we talk about the AI PC, I want to just give you a couple of data points. So we expect by the end of this year that globally, there would have been around 100 million AI PCs sold globally. So this is a huge number. And this speaks to the acceleration of the adoption of the AI PC. We expect by 2028 that 80% of all of the AI PCs, all of the PCs sold globally will be AI PC.
80%.
So 80%, 80% by 2028. So this is how the acceleration and the adoption of the AI PC that is being built out. Now, it's not only about the hardware. I think it's the whole ecosystem. And we recognize that at Intel. So in the first, and as you're absolutely right, it's been like more or less 2+ years where it's sold. And this is the second generation Core Ultra, second generation 200V. So the first generation of Core Ultra, we had 100 software vendor applications enabled on the AI PC.
That's already a lot, actually.
A lot, and that was with around 200 features enabled for the AI PC. For the second generation, which is like right now, we have more than 200 software vendor applications enabled with over 400 features. So that doubled as well.
Yeah.
So we see the importance of the software ecosystem and the collaboration with the ecosystem and innovation that it will bring to the AI PC. It's not just about the hardware, it's about the software, the application, the user experience that builds as a result. So we see that the gains in productivity, in collaboration, in creativity, all of these is very important for the AI PC to be successful and to make sure that we create this demand from a usage perspective on the device.
Speaking about AI PC usage and user experience in general, of course, you have many users. Some of them are individuals. They're like regular customers. Some of them are enterprises, and some of them are government. Do you think they use their AI PCs differently? And what difference do you like notice in your line of work?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think we believe that each category will have its own specific usage. We separate primarily between the consumer and the commercial. So the consumer is what is mostly sold in retails and some of the channels. And these are mostly require ease of use, good battery life, ability to support creativity, collaboration, and all of that. So that's more or less the type of usage for consumer devices.
Exactly.
Now, when you go to specifically the commercial, and the commercial at Intel is split into three broad categories. So there is the enterprise category. And this enterprise, I believe there's a lot of focus on the productivity, on the collaboration, and of course the security. So
Exactly.
these are very important segments. And also compatibility. There are hundreds of enterprise applications that need to run on your device. And because the AI PC, as I mentioned at the beginning, is a PC, so you can rest assured that your enterprise application would run seamlessly on your device, and you do not need to do any form of changes of your application to run on the AI PC, which is a great thing for the enterprise
that's really important,
as
actually.
they upgrade their platform. When it comes to the small and medium businesses, they are also looking for what we call total cost of ownership. So they are very conscious when it comes to the value that they get from the device, and also the ability to innovate and to be creative, because SMB is all about innovation and creation, being agile. And we believe all of this enabling of all of these applications, of all of these features on these that we spent with the software ecosystem would enable the SMB to utilize the device to the full and to use it in an efficient way. Government is very unique, and I think it's mostly kind of related to the enterprise in terms of security is of very high concern. Productivity is also something and collaboration is something that is very critical. And again, when you look at the government, you see still a lot of applications and a lot of legacy system that needs to run, and AI PC kind of contribute to that. Very interesting thing that we see that if you look at the installed base in the Middle East and Africa, there is more than 24 million PCs that are more than 5 years old.
Whoa.
So you can think of a 5-year-old PC, the security concerns, the performance of the device, the battery life of the device versus a new PC. So we believe that there is going to drive a refresh cycle. So it's driven by many factors. It's driven by Windows 10 end of support that is happening in October of this year, Windows 11 refresh, the AI PC, the new applications and workloads, AI workloads that can run on your device. So we believe that all of these elements is going to accelerate the refresh during this year and next year. And this is something that is going to create excitement in the PC ecosystem in general. And it will enable more innovation in the ecosystem.
I think like excitement is the exact, it's the best word to say about that, because like for a long time, like since all my whole life, the PCs were one thing. Mm-hmm. And now suddenly they can do a lot more stuff. Like, it's not only like a thing that you do what you want and it does it perfectly, and that's okay. Now it's more than that. Now you ask it what you want and it can kind of understand you. It can help you out. So that's very revolutionary, let's say. And I believe so that will drive sales. It should drive sales because there's more value for the users.
I think users are still getting used to the idea of these AI applications on the PC. They're starting to experiment with them. They're starting to use them. But once you start using them, you get addicted to them. So, for example, for myself, I use some of these tools to summarize meetings, to kind of give me the highlights of the meetings, publish meeting minutes. So all of these things can save me hours of work, and also can increase the focus on what really matters versus, just the global points. So I don't need some of the meetings that I don't attend. I can just get AI to summarize the meeting, summarize the key points. Yeah. So it is really a tool of productivity. And I think this is going to be some of the how AI impacts the work that we do. So it's not about AI is going to replace your job or not. It's about, are you going to use AI to grow your productivity in the job and to become more efficient, more productive, and move much faster. And that's the expectation of AI. It saves you a lot of time so that you can spend more time doing the things that matter and reduce the repetitive work that AI can do it for you. So this is very important, and this is not just for myself. I think a lot of people, and a lot of professionals, as they start using AI, that will increase the productivity, and that's the expectation of AI in general, is that it would up-level the contribution of employees in the productivity of the company they work for or the enterprise that they work for.
Even thinking about creativity itself, when you have all those tasks taken care of by AI, you have the time to think, you have the time to strategize, you have the time to connect with other people. So I think, that's a very important point to talk about. But now let's move to the Middle East itself. Middle East is a very unique region. Basically, for a lot of time, we were let's say, kind of behind on the technological advancements. In recent years, it just leapfrogged ahead. But many companies just started their, let's say, digitalization now. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? That means we are kind of slower because they just started and they're hesitant to jump to a new stuff like AI PCs. It's the new shiny, exciting stuff. Or is it a good thing because they talked a lot and now suddenly you have the opportunity to talk?
We are in really one of the most exciting places in the world right now in terms of technology. The Middle East is leading when it comes to AI, the adoption of AI and the focus on AI. Investments happening in the region that is creating impact, not only in the region, but globally. We've seen over the last few months how the Middle East, Saudi and the UAE are leading in terms of establishing AI entities that is collaborating with multinationals across the globe to accelerate the use of AI and the building of AI infrastructure, not only in the Middle East, but globally. So I think it's an opportunity for us not only to establish AI hubs in the region, but for the region to lead globally. And this is expected to advance the GDP of this region. So, for example, in the UAE, it's expected that AI will contribute 14% to its GDP by 2030. That's almost $95 billion that it will contribute to that. And globally, multinationals and even governments are realizing how this region has become a hub of AI, and this is why we see all this collaboration and focus on that for this region. So I think the visions 2030s that were in the region are driving this acceleration of technology as a means of economic diversification, and it's creating this opportunity, unique opportunity for us in this region to lead in terms of technology and accelerating the digital transformation. There's another unique thing about this region is that governments are leading the technology.
Exactly.
So when you go to the US and when you go to Europe, it's enterprise that is leading the technology and transforming. Here it's government that is advancing, and it's enterprise and companies that are following and trying to match the speed by which the government is advancing the technology envelope and the regulatory envelope so that the region would move forward at a faster pace. So the digital transformation efforts that's happening in this region was kicked off by the government, accelerated by the government, and the commercial sector is following on that. So to your point, there might be some delays in some of the companies and some of the SMBs and enterprise in catching up. However, the picture when it comes to the government is much, much different, where we have a government that is leading in terms of technology adoption and transformation. And then we have some areas of the SMB and the enterprise that is now starting to realize, with this advancement that is happening, I need to also be on board and I need to use that. We all need to understand that this digital transformation, AI, technology in general, is not just for the use of technology, it's to increase efficiencies, increase productivity, reduce the cost, create this transformation and impact to the business that will make the business transformative. I would like to kind of like sum this up by, I believe that AI is as transformative to the business as the internet was in the beginning of 2000s. It was a tool that if you don't use, you're most likely to be out of business very soon, because your competitor is going to be using it and is going to become differentiate and is going to become more competitive and run you out of business. So this is a time for the enterprise and for the SMB and the commercial segment in general and governments to look at this as this is the new internet and how to utilize it to improve my business. So it's really very unique times, and I believe that being in this region, seeing the impact of this technology and the leadership that is happening in this one is really one thing to keep me very excited, very happy to wake up every day being part of this transformation.
Absolutely. It's a very unique time in a very unique region. Thank you, Taha. That was very insightful, a lot of information, a lot of insights. Thank you very much for having the time to meet with us today, and hopefully we will see you again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.